Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, welcome to A Couple of Flicks. I'm Tristan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Zach.
All right. I like to call this our Snoop Dogg prologue episode.
Nice.
So, I figure the way I see it, the film that we're talking about, it's like multiple stories. So it all works out the same because we're still talking about three things. It's just, instead of talking about three films, we're talking about three short films. So,
All right.
sort of.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, sort of, I guess you could say. But before we dive in, before we start talking about that stuff, have either of you watched anything recently that you would like to talk about?
I watched Pig, the new Nick Cage one.
Oh shit.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Shit.
Definitely one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah. I definitely would put it up there for me as well. Like it might be my favorite. I don't know. I still have to think about it more. But yeah, Pig was amazing.
Yeah. And then it's not crazy Cage. It's like good
Yeah.
acting Cage.
Oh,
Yeah. It's
it's a rare
neutered
one.
Cage.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's a movie that in time more people will take to. I don't think people are quite ready to appreciate it yet, I guess, is sort of my impression. So
Yeah, I think people are expecting crazy. So
yeah. It's more of a deconstruction of crazy. I don't know. I think it'll be fun to talk about, whenever, yeah. So
I might watch it tonight even then.
yeah, it's on it's on Hulu.
Oh, okay. I have Hulu.
It's worth watching.
Still is.
Okay.
Anything
Yeah.
else? Or-
Pretty much all I've watched worth talking about, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah,
No.
I didn't watch anything
Yeah.
this week.
Well, I finished the Matrix movies. So I think I am starting to gain a newfound appreciation for Matrix Revolutions. I think I sort of wrote it off at the time a little bit. Like when I saw it, I was like, I mean, there were fight scenes that were cool and that's about it, like at the time. But watching it now, and sorry, I got a bug bite on my cheek, by the way. So I might be itching a lot. Sorry. But I think what I realize about it now is that like it's meant to be a love story. It's meant to really be about like how the protagonist decides to make the choice to actually become this savior of humanity. And like I think now I realize that the movie is actually trying to say something a little bit more positive about how humans and machines can kind of coexist, and I feel like the film, like the problem with the Matrix trilogy, the all three of the Matrix films, I've ultimately kind of come to the conclusion that, I mean, they're all really interesting in their own ways, but they don't really flow together very well as sequels. Like there were elements of the second film that I thought it would have made more sense to introduce them in the third film and vice versa. And then like the first film, like I think the average person, the first time they watch it will most likely be confused, but also like intrigued enough to like watch it again and again. Like The Matrix, I think, opened a lot of people's eyes as to how powerful the cinematic medium can like truly be. And it's the first movie that people actually said, "Oh, I'm going to watch it again. Like I'm going to rewatch it." Like back like before the movie The Matrix came out, mostly the type of movies that people would rewatch were entertaining, light type of films that you don't really have to think about. The Matrix is pretty much the opposite of that. It's actually heavily a thinking person's series of films. And so I would have to say the third film is actually quite thoughtful in a lot of ways. It's also like plot wise the most flawed. So like it does have a lot going against it as well. So, but I actually like, I do appreciate it a lot more now than I did when I was younger. So the Matrix trilogy, I would say, is definitely worth rewatching. And I also rewatched the Animatrix, and I would actually have to say I like the Animatrix even more than I like the films, believe it or not. So, but I can talk about that another time. You know. So,
Still don't think I've seen the Animatrix.
I've seen it. Yeah, when it came out, I saw it at least.
yeah.
It was good.
Do you, yeah.
I don't remember anything of it really. But I remember some just, some were hits and misses for me.
Yeah. The same. Although I will say, one of the shorts in that film, it's like a 3D animated one that's made by the folks behind the Final Fantasy Spirited Within animation, like the people who directed that. The final flight of the Osiris or whatever it was called. They played it before the movie Dreamcatcher. Like if you ever catched Dreamcatcher in the theater, before the movie began, it started off with like showing the final flight of the Osiris because it was a Warner Brothers movie, so they gotta put that in there. But I would actually say that out of all the shorts in the Animatrix, that one's actually the weakest. Like that's the one where the least amount of stuff happens, and it's the only one that didn't really make me think much. So that was kind of an interesting reaction I had this time. The others,
I remember the one I remember was mostly just about an Olympic athlete that was paralyzed and then started walking again after some crazy shit went down. Something like that.
Yeah, I remember he's like, there's the scene where he's like running through the field and he actually ends up breaking through the Matrix, and he's on all these different drugs and stuff, but like that's one of the trippier ones. Yeah, that one was nuts. And then there was also that one, there was a second Renaissance part 1 and part 2, which I actually cried watching those, just because like the first part is about how the humans like treated the machines and how we like pretty much like, I mean, we're like how we like abused them and we're really horrible to them and like made them submit to our will in really unreasonable ways, and then we still ended up tormenting them even after they actually like reach out and call for peace and even like try to somehow apologize for their existence. We still treat them like garbage after that. And so like that was really intense to watch. And so then like the second part shows what the robots do to the humans, and I actually had kind of an intense reaction to it. Like I didn't enjoy watching it, but at the same time, like watching the machines like torture and mutilate and destroy the human race was actually like, I mean, I could see like why they were doing it, because from their perspective, it was like a defense reaction. And I felt like that short in particular really delved into the psychology, I guess, for lack of a better word, of like the machine world, and how like even though like a lot of their empathy and their sense of individuality comes from our sort of implementation, it was still sort of like them responding to how we were treating them. So that one was amazing. I really loved that one. And then there was also the kid's story, which that one was kind of interesting because it didn't really, it sort of ignored the whole red pill, blue pill thing, so that one kind of, it felt like it took place in a different reality, because in the second movie, they did establish that they were like, it had happened multiple times, and how like it wasn't the first reincarnation of the Matrix and all this stuff. And I mean, I could go on forever talking about it, and I won't. But so I apologize. But I am curious to see how the Matrix Resurrections works out. Like, I'm tentative, but I'm tentative about everything these days anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm still curious to see it.
Me
Yeah.
too. Looks good at least.
Mhm.
Definitely got to rewatch everything again too.
Yeah, they're worth the rewatch. They're pretty interesting movies. They all three of them have like weird problems, but I mean the first one's a classic, and then the second and third one have some really interesting. The second film had that great car pileup sequence on the highway that just is really one of the best things ever, honestly.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the third film had that one guy who imitated Agent Smith like to a T, which was just so fascinating. Like, and how Agent Smith turns into like a total nihilist. Like, I just love it. Uh, so yeah, that's like the most recent thing. I just have been going through the Matrix pretty much. Like,
Nice.
not literally, but just yeah. All right, so now that we've got that out of the way, who wants to speak of the title of this picture that we shall be discussing, that stars Snoop Dogg?
Kinda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He's in
kinda.
it.
Yeah, and he's sort of in the title.
Yeah. It's directed by the Bye Bye Man director. That's why we ultimately started it down this rabbit
Yeah.
hole, I guess.
Yeah, Stacy Title, who I forgive her for the Bye Bye Man because she directed The Last Supper, which is, I know not everybody likes that movie, but I like that movie. So I'll give her credit for that. I think that she had good intentions as a director. Sadly, I actually found out she passed away.
Mhm.
But
This year, I think.
I think yeah,
Yeah.
from like
Yeah.
eight, yeah. Um, so
I
but
knew
yeah,
about it, yeah, because of
yeah.
her husband, yeah, was a survivor, and
Mm.
they did a bunch of fundraising for it. She died of like MS or something, so they did a bunch of
Yeah,
fundraising and
ALS.
whatnot.
Yeah,
ALS, okay, yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't hate the Bye Bye Man. So, but anyway, but let's examine this picture. Ignoring whatever. I mean, really, yeah, she directed it, but this is really, I would say, this is Snoop Dogg's in production, probably more than likely. I mean, I'd say he probably had the biggest hand in this. So,
It's one of the production companies is Snoopadelic Films.
yeah, okay, there you go. So this is so Stacy Title helmed the project, but Snoop Dogg was pretty much the puppet master.
Okay. There you go.
So I mean, I guess it starts off with a animated sequence,
Yeah.
which wasn't bad actually. I kind of was into the rustic quality of it.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
wondering if the whole first one was, because I read that it was an anthology right before hitting play. And I was like, oh, is this first one going to be a fully animated one?
yeah,
No, it was just like the intro, 10-minute backstory on whatever Snoop Dogg was, like a gatekeeper to hell or something.
yeah. There was a situation where his sister was killed, and he basically like decided to stay like undead as a way of sort of paying repentance or something like that. I mean, I know there was some sort of spiritual thing going on, but
Yeah, like it was like a gang fight, and one of his stray bullets killed his sister, and
yeah,
I don't know, some demon came to him and told him to kill himself, so he did, and then now he's, I don't know, some gatekeeper to hell or something.
yeah, he's basically the crypt keeper from
Yeah.
yeah, Tales from the Crypt.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess also Clarence Williams, the third from Tales from the Hood, which I'm just gonna say right now, this movie borrows heavily from, and I don't mean that just because they have Hood in the title. I mean, all three of these stories are kind of structured not the same way as those, but similarly. So this is kind of Snoop Dogg's version of Tales from the Hood, which I would say is more tongue in cheek and more nihilistic. But I love Tales from the Hood personally, so I'm biased.
Still gotta see it.
Yeah, it's one of those movies I rented more than once. It's wicked cheesy. It's like cheesy as hell, but it's good though. It's the type of movie. It's the type of anthology movie I like. Like I like the kind where it starts off kind of silly and then builds to like the darkest story in the third part. You know, that's what I also liked about Night Train to Terror, and there was another one that I'm not remembering the name of off the top of my head, but that did the same thing. I like those kinds of anthology films. So
I guess this one kind of did that. I don't know.
yeah, I would say so, because the first story was kind of a revenge story, although the revenge didn't even happen until the last like few minutes, like sort of like with Creep Show, the Father's Day story in that, you know, like the revenge twist happens at the very end. And then the second story was like, I'm not going to spoil them or anything, but the second story was like about, you know, people who are racist kind of paying for their actions and their, although this is a little bit, there's a lot more to it than that, but you know, we'll get to that. And the third story is like sort of a dark morality tale. I mean, all three of them are morality tales, but the third one in particular was especially heavy on the morality tale element. But anyway, we'll get to that. So
Yeah. This first one, I guess I'll try and explain it.
yeah, why not? Is there a Wikipedia article? Because that might be easy. If you're not up for it, or we could
I
clarify.
can at least try and go through it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It follows a girl named Posey. And she's like at her mom's grave or something. I guess she got also killed. And actually, I don't really know. They do kind of interstish some type
There's a
of
couple
gang related
flashbacks.
stuff. Yeah, there was gang.
Yeah, there was a situation where she watched, so like I guess it was her dad or her stepdad or somebody killing themselves, and
Yeah.
they showed that a couple times.
Yeah.
But she like, well, okay, anyway, go on.
Yeah, I just wrote down like, yeah, the mom died and that she wants revenge was the general gist I got from the first few moments /
Yeah.
the whole thing basically. We see like the gang, they're like just a random gang, they're complaining about some tags, like, oh, who did this girly tag? It's fucked up. This is our turf, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that they took, you know, tags. I guess I should have, but you know, I played enough San Andreas. They took gang tags seriously, so they got all pissed off at her because she was tagged up their hood.
Yeah, she tagged on their turf, and then like they started tagging over hers, and then she was like, "Yo, you may as well be painting over me if you're gonna do that." You know, don't. And so then they try to pick a fight, but then she kind of calls them on it. They point a gun at her. She's like, "I don't care. It's not the first time a gun has been pointed at me. You know, do your worst." You know, and it just kind of escalates from there, and it starts to become a sort of like a back and forth little issue. And then Danny Trejo shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
By the way,
funny.
Zach, how did you watch this?
I have the DVD.
Ah, cool. All right. Are there any special features on it?
I think there's a lot, but I didn't watch them.
There might be more stories.
Oh,
like, this might not be. Like Snoop Dogg might have more to say.
Oh, maybe. I don't think I'm keeping this DVD, but
yeah. Does it have a music video on it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
The
of
whole
the.
credit scene was at least a music video. It felt like.
It might just be that without the credits. I don't know.
All right. I don't know. I might take that DVD off your hands for you. I might. I'll think about it.
All right.
But all right. So okay. So like, so yeah. So Danny Trejo, who's he's okay. Okay. So is he listed on the box cover? Like,
Yeah, it's like
okay.
I think that no, that it's like Snoop Dogg, Danny Trejo, and Aries Spears are the main people on it.
Okay. I'm surprised Jason Alexander didn't get.
I think he
plastered up.
was too. That's what I was just about to say. I think Jason Alexander was as well.
Ah.
I believe. Because I think that's the only way I knew he was in it until
Yeah.
he showed up. We'll
Yeah.
get to him.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember where but Danny Trejo played like some voodoo type guy.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
voodoo gangster.
Some random vagrant. He looked like a homeless guy who crawled out of a dumpster.
Yeah, with some obvious like fake teeth. Because like when he was acting, his mouth was just popped out with those fake teeth. It was funny.
Yeah. I laughed so hard. I was like, okay.
Yeah. And he gives her a tattoo, a mystical, magical tattoo of some sort.
Yeah.
With the implication she's supposed to clean up the streets. And so she does by Xing out other people's tags. That's all she
Yeah.
does. And then they have like Final Destination style deaths, basically.
I guess. I mean, like the first guy, let's see if I can remember this. I watched it today, so it's just all right. The first guy he grabbed some young girl and was gonna like have his way with her.
No, she was she was a prostitute even.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. All right. I think I was getting confused with the later scene in
The
movie.
second
So,
one, yeah.
yeah. So okay, yeah. So he like pulls her into a room and is gonna have his way with her, and then like he reaches in to his pants and he like his gun is in the way and he's trying to get it out of the way and he accidentally pulls the trigger and blows and shoots himself and dies.
Mhm.
Then the second guy, something
This one was
happened.
the
He like
funniest
got
one.
impaled. Yeah, he got impaled. Yeah. Do you want to say what happened?
So yeah, he was like, they're all in the same gang. So the second guy was like, doing the pour one out for the homies.
Yeah.
But he was also taking a piss while doing it. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, how respectful is that? I don't understand.
Not very.
But it was good for the reward of him just slipping on his own piss
Yeah.
and impaling himself with the 40.
Yeah.
That's how he died. Yeah.
Which admittedly, like I don't think I've seen that before. Did that? I mean, you've seen all the Leprechaun movies. Did that happen in any of them?
Not that I can remember now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that would really. I think the glass would break before it goes through someone's skull.
I mean, that's what was interesting about it was that somehow the 40 remained in one piece. So that was interesting.
And then it continued to spray blood.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Somehow.
Yeah.
Like a Mentos thing or something. Mentos
Yeah.
tag.
Yeah. And then let's see. Then the third guy, he's played by that one kid who's in that movie.
I do want to say that she gave
yeah.
after it happened, because she was like in the corner watching this one happen, she gave a little one-liner, "What a waste of beer."
Yeah. It's like, okay. I mean, this movie had a lot of funny punchlines in it, like what was the one about the lettuce dick or no, not lettuce dick. Shit, I can't remember. I don't know. This movie was pretty silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the third guy he was another tagger. He's played by that.
This one was weird. It was like the most like hammed in, kind of forced, I felt.
Well, that he just kind of randomly strangled himself with a phone cord out of nowhere.
Yeah. And I was under it was also under the implication that he was a good, like, while he was, the second guy robbed the liquor store to get that 40, I guess. He's like, no,
Yeah,
you don't have anything to do with this. You have a chance to get out. You're a smart kid or whatever. So you kind of get the idea that, oh, maybe he's just young and
yeah,
has a
exactly.
chance. But
It does
no,
make it does establish that, and so I don't think we're supposed to actually like the fact that he dies. Like, I think this is when you start sort of realizing, okay, wait a minute, this girl, she's starting to go a little off the deep end here. Like, she killed a rapist and she killed a a gangbuster, but now she's like starting to kill people who are like a little bit more innocent. Billy D. Williams is in this movie, by the way. I just remembered.
yeah.
Um, the third,
Kind of-
she like causes some guy to have a heart attack at one point. Like, she just starts like going on a killing spree.
Yeah, and that third kid, like it was the stupidest one because he just kind of like twirled himself around in a phone booth and it started strangling him.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that. Like, the phone cord was wrapped around his neck, and then instead of going and wrapping it, he decided to go the opposite way and just started going, and then like
Yeah,
his arteries got torn, and it was a messy sight.
yeah. I was like, oh, is this a possessed phone booth or something? Because it looked like it was started strangling him without his
It would have made
intervention.
more sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe the phone like malfunctioned and he got zapped, and or something. I mean, I don't know, that would have made more sense. Like, I just don't understand, like, because like the first two deaths seemed more like accidental, but
Yeah.
the third death, it was like, wait a minute, like,
What's happening?
what did you just like cause him to suddenly want to kill himself? Like, that's the only, because it didn't seem like he was I mean, he did say like, oh man, like at one point, like, but like he didn't really seem to mind the fact that he was like literally splitting his arteries open with the phone cord. It was like, okay, whatever. um then there was the heart attack, and then eventually it's like, because Snoop Dogg's, he's trying to deliver a message about like why like it's not ultimately okay to kill people, like he's trying to say like there's a time and place for justice, but this isn't the way to do it. Like, you don't like start like fulfilling bloodlust. And so unfortunately her victims end up coming back, and
Because
this part
Danny,
was
well, because she also did just start doing straight up tags as well, and
yeah,
then like Danny stops her and says, "This isn't what we agreed to, or whatever. You were supposed to
yeah,
clean it up." And then she defends herself with some flimsy excuse, and he like
like they had it coming, blah
zaps,
blah blah.
and he like zaps the tattoo off her as well. So she
Yeah, so she
loses the powers she had or whatever.
yeah. And I mean, I guess she's sort of supposed to be like an Eileen Warnos type who, like, initially, feels justified in her actions, but then starts just finding more and more excuses to commit murder, and so she goes mad with bloodlust, and so the zombie, so then everybody comes back as a zombie, basically everybody she's killed. And they do this interesting thing. Actually, her death scene was rather disgusting. They insert the spray can into her skull and somehow create sort of a what is it, the spray, the aerosol. They create some sort of a aerosol out of her internal organs, like, and splatter her against the wall, which incidentally also happened in the first story of Tales from the Hood, is somebody gets splattered against the wall. But whatever, I'm not going to talk about that. So she gets splattered against the wall, and then Snoop Dogg comes over and starts like admiring the wall and picking her eyeballs out of it. And he said something funny, like, what did he say? Like,
Oh yeah.
she they always say artists always try to be their art, or something like that. He said something silly.
Yeah.
Like,
Life imitates art. It was that line. Something
yeah,
like life imitating art or whatever.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, okay, all right, sure.
Yeah, it was like a mural that she was supposed to do for Brad D. Williams or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they turned it like instead of I thought they were like because they had a curtain and they were gonna do like a curtain drop reveal. I thought it was gonna show her all mangled on the wall, but
Yeah.
no, it was just like a what looked like a bloody bunch of flowers, which is
Yeah.
like her tag or whatever.
Yeah.
And then everyone
Oh.
there just loved it anyways.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, so
okay.
yeah, so who really learned the lesson? Because she's dead, so she clearly didn't learn a lesson. Like, oh well, I guess it doesn't matter.
I mean,
But
she did learn the lesson through death, I guess.
yeah, she paid the ultimate price. Which
And
I
I
think
thought
they
and I thought he was gonna eat the eyeball in real life, but no, it was
no.
stupid. They went to the animation bit to
Yeah.
make him eat the eyeball.
Yeah. You see, this movie tries to have it both ways. It tries to have the Crypt Keeper he thing, only in the form of Snoop Dogg doing the hey like thing. Um but then they have to have these animated interludes in the midst. It's like, okay, this ain't exactly the Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys. Like, you can't just throw in animation whenever you want. But you know, I like it worked for the intro, but then when they started putting it in more and more, it's like, all right, well now you're just making me want to see more of that. You know, like
Because it was decent.
yeah, exactly. And then it started cutting to like these real life situations, which it, you know, some of it was kind of interesting, but a lot of it you could tell was pretty shoddy, and it was like, I kind of preferred the animated stuff. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh well. All right. So that yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I was gonna write down the names of them, but I forget. But yeah, that's the first one.
Yeah.
First
Yeah,
one was crossed out.
oh,
Okay.
crossed out. Okay, yeah, because she's what do you call it? She's oh yeah, she crosses out stuff with her graffiti. Excuse me, POTUS. He's just so in the way. Um yeah, she crosses out stuff with her graffiti, which is why it's called crossed out.
There you go. Yeah. Right on
Yeah.
the nose.
Yeah. Um so yeah, then the second story, it's called like the Slumlord or something like that, or the
Scum Lord.
Scum Lord. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
I thought this was the weakest of the three. If there's any type of I don't know scale to put these two.
I mean, they're all bad. If you want me to be honest.
Yeah, they're all. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, they're all
Yeah,
bad, but this was the worst
yeah.
of them.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This was the worst. Yeah, this one was pretty heavy-handed. Like, it's another one of those stories where pretty much everybody behaves not necessarily how their character would behave, but more how the character would behave in order to advance the plot. And it doesn't really have a plot, so that kind of tells you everything. It's pretty much just a couple of shitty asshole racists, one of whom murders their father and then decides to essentially relocate
He has to
over.
relocate.
Yeah.
Which okay, so yeah, his dad he kills his dad because he wants to inherit shit because his
Yeah.
dad's loaded some Vietnam vet also, which is part of
Yeah.
it. So, but he meets up with the lawyer who's Penner. If you didn't notice, it's the Daisy,
Yeah.
the flower shop guy,
Yeah, that was funny.
the director's husband.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
love that.
the lawyer basically says, yeah, you gotta. The dad realizes his son's a piece of shit, and he's like, so I want. He puts in his will that he has to live with these Vietnam vets that he had a great fondness for and helped out in the war to try and
Yeah.
make his son appreciate life or something better.
Yeah. I mean, somehow his son got lost in a big way and became a racist alcoholic. And He's got this wife who is just as nasty as he is, if not worse. And yeah, they pretty much just torment a bunch of Vietnam War vets for about 20 minutes.
I was like, where's the horror in this one? I didn't get it because it was getting to the end too
Yeah.
and anything. I was like, what? What's the point of this one at all? There's no horror in this.
Yeah, we could have
Yeah.
cut that in half. The first half, like we get it. They're
Yeah.
awful racist people.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't mind when a movie or a short film or anything is heavy-handed about like morality or whatever, or what, like, or when it's trying to sort of make a serious distinction between who is good and who's evil. Like, I don't mind. I mean, Blue Velvet is an amazing movie. There's no question about the fact that Frank Booth is an evil human being, but it's done, for a purpose. There's more to it than just like, oh, this guy is, a crazy racist who murdered his father, and therefore, like, we should hate him. Like, he can't just be that. There has to be like more to it than that,
Yeah, but there
And the
wasn't.
fact that, yeah, exactly. He's, he pretty much just. There's a sort of, I mean, the film, or the short film it's essentially trying to kind of be a class exploration. And it is trying to draw a little bit of a parallel between the way people treat veterans in this country, which is a real issue. But the thing is, it doesn't really do that. Like, it's kind of like, it starts off sort of doing that, but then like it also sort of falls into the same type of like, oh well, they've killed before, so they're going to kill again. They bring this one lady who's actually, like, she has sort of been involved with them for a while, before this guy showed up. Tex Jr. is his name, which is like, okay, Tex Jr. Like, seriously, you're gonna name him Tex Jr.?
Mhm.
Okay, whatever.
I mean, the
guess.
dad was Tex Senior.
Yeah, I mean, it's not trying to be anything complicated, I suppose, but then it sort of has to make up for the fact that it's trying to explore something heavy by suddenly becoming a horror short. But then those horror elements are really silly. Like, basically what I'm trying to say is that this ain't exactly The People Under the Stairs, which is a masterpiece in comparison, for sure. Because basically what it ends up amounting to is Tex and his wife, they murder they at least two people die, one of whom because they find a loophole in the will that establishes that if because it's like, all right, they have to live with these Vietnam War veterans for a year. They obviously don't want to do that because they're crazy sick racists. So they find a loophole in which if these people die, they can immediately gain the fortune. So that's established immediately. And one of the veterans ends up dying from some kind of virus. I wasn't sure what it was. A starvation, perhaps.
They just got sick. Yeah, that one was just generally sick.
Yeah.
And then they didn't help because they were cutting off like their
food supply,
their medical aid, and all
yeah,
that type of shit. Yeah.
And they were starving. Like, they cut up their food supply. Like, these people were pretty much just torturing them. And so then the Vietnam War veterans, they turn around, they barge in, beat the shit out of him, tie his wife to the bed, force feed her caviar, which again, heavy-handed, wealth satire of like feeding the rich their own sort of filth.
Yeah, while they were starving them.
Yeah, I mean, kind of funny in a way, but
she was farting the whole time.
Oh
so
my God,
yeah. I mean, if you like fart jokes, then there you go, I guess.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, well, fart jokes are the original joke. Let's be real.
Yeah,
I mean, fart jokes are humor at its purest form.
Yeah, baby laughs at their own farts, so you gotta, and they don't know shit yet. So
yeah, exactly. Literally everybody, the first thing they laugh at is a fart. The end. So if you're a big fan of fart jokes, this movie will do it for you. In this segment, in one scene, you'll get about 20 fart jokes. What or really not really fart jokes, but more fart sound effects, and then a couple of jokes in between,
Yeah.
sandwich.
The most
Um,
generic fart noises you can
Yeah.
think of when it
Yeah.
comes to movies.
Wet
Yeah.
ones too.
Yeah, and they like goes on throughout the dialogue, like underneath. It's pretty funny, the sound mixing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but she explodes, and then let's see, the other guy falls down the stairs. There's
Yeah,
kind
because
of a funny,
they also hook her up to like some
Yeah.
reverse vacuum and put like
yeah,
the thing to her mouth and just turn it on and
yeah,
explode her with caviar.
And then
yeah.
the dog eats her stomach.
Oh
Mm.
yeah, that's another thing that they established, is that the rich people have been feeding the dog caviar, and of course the dog is an annoying little barky sewer rat looking thing. I mean, what's it called? Is it a chihuahua? I don't even know. The
I didn't
scariest.
catch if it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
But
so.
it looked like one.
yeah.
Yeah,
But the dog.
typical Paris Hilton in a handbag dog. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The dog eats some of her guts and her remains of the caviar, and then the other guy who's tied to a chair, like he gets pushed down the stairs, and there's a fun little Psycho homage where you see him falling, and it's kind of cool. He dies. And he like falls on he falls on something. Oh yeah, the horns.
The horns. Yeah, he had some
Yeah.
horns shipped in earlier.
Yeah, the horns that he killed his father with.
Yeah.
So he gets his just desserts. He gets his revenge, or no, he doesn't get his revenge. He gets revenged upon from beyond the grave. Beautiful. I mean, I find that a little inspiring, I must admit. But really, why did he have to have the horns shipped in? Like, is he really that much of an asshole? Like, that he has to literally carry around the horns that killed his father? Like, at that point, he's just begging to get killed. At that point, he's just begging to have people make enemies out of him. Like, it just,
Mhm.
so really, I mean, this guy, he's the type of person you look at and wonder, like, why God doesn't strike him down immediately. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he gets killed, but what else is new? He was a useless waste of space, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, we were waiting 20 minutes for it to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Gets boring.
Yeah, and the woman's death was more satisfying than his was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even though he was the main asshole.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then Snoop Dogg shows up. He's the new landlord. What's his name? Damien, something like that.
Devon, I want to say.
Yeah, Damien,
Yeah,
Damon.
Devon.
Yeah,
Devon. Yeah.
Devon. Okay, Devon. He shows up and he shoots the little annoying sewer rat, which was pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that was like a little extra. Like, what? Okay.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
no, no dogs allowed. Present company excluded.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was definitely excessive.
Literally looked to the camera as he said that.
Yeah, yeah. He winks. It was excessive. It was vulgar. It was gratuitous. Nobody wants to necessarily see an exploding dog, except for me, when it comes to annoying sewer rat chihuahuas. But I will say though, Snoop Dogg. Okay, I mean, I absolutely adore Snoop Dogg. I love him to death.
He was the
and
best part of this movie, too.
Yeah, and one of the things I absolutely really love about him as a person, really, is that he has always really been open about when he sort of changes his mind about things. And he was somebody who went from wearing fur coats to nowadays he's a vegan. Like, nowadays he's very into animal rights and is very vocal about that, which, I mean, I believe in balance in all things when it comes to that sort of thing. And, I'm not going to elaborate on that too much, but, he is somebody who has gone on to sort of be openly one way to being openly another way, and being open about the fact that he has changed in certain ways. I always kind of think of him as a businessman above all. But I mean, he's worked hard to get where he is, and he recognizes that he's a lucky human being,
Mhm.
and he makes the most out of it.
He does
And
his
that's what I
own
love
thing.
about him. Exactly. Yeah, and he
Like
continues to do his own thing.
yeah, one of the funniest thing, like the most endearing things on the internet is like he was streaming, like he does some streaming every now and then,
Hmm.
and he just rage quit like a FIFA game and walked out of the room and left the stream just on for like 8 hours of just an empty room. He's like he's muted himself the whole time, was talking like in the chat, like he doesn't understand how streaming works, but he's doing it anyway.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, people can make fun of him, but honestly, I can relate to that. Like, I have rage quit a video game before, threw the controller down, walked away, didn't even bother turning off the console. Like, if I were in Snoop Dogg's shoes, I would have probably done the same thing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah. So I guess, yeah. At this point, I guess I'm basically just saying that I forgive him for shooting a dog in a movie. I mean, I know he didn't really shoot the dog, but I know that I've also, like, in the past talked about how much I really don't enjoy watching dogs die in movies. But this is one of the rare examples where, you know, to me, whatever, it's just a silly horror movie. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so on to the third and final story, I suppose, after Snoop Dogg shoots the puppy. What was the third story called? It was called like SO. Oh wait, no, that wasn't it. What's it called?
Rhapsody Askew.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
The rapper's name was SOD.
Yeah, SOD. That's it. Okay.
Success or something with the D. What was this? That's what it stood for.
Yeah,
He said it once: succeed or die, or I don't know.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think it was or success. I don't know. Anyway, but it's pretty much it's like about this. I mean, he's basically an artist who sort of starts from he and this other fella get, you know, pretty big as partners, and then his partner dies, and you know, at first you don't know how, or no, you do know how. It starts off showing what happens. Like, it starts off with them, like with him getting shot in like a robbery, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Did it show that? I didn't even know. I may have missed it.
It was very brief, but
Yeah.
Yeah. So it does. It starts off with him like praying to God, like being all religious and shit, and that's kind of important later because he's like, yeah, please God, let me get succeed and famous or whatever.
Yeah. And so it's kind of about like, it's like be careful what you wish for type of thing, but like mixed with like a spiritual tale, because it ends up being about this guy who has to kind of pay for his sins and yeah, and repent, but not really repent, because it doesn't end with him repenting necessarily. It ends rather tragically actually, but like he basically there's like a scene where like he and his friend, I'm bothered because I'm not remembering his friend's name now.
I wrote it down here.
Yeah.
It starts with a Q.
Quan.
Oh yeah, Quan. Okay, yeah.
Quan. Yep,
Quan. So he and his friend Quan, like they're like young when they start off, and they want to.
I mean, it was only a year skip, so I mean.
Right. Okay. Well then there you go. Like, they want to escape from their sort of hood environment, so they want to like find success in the music industry. And they quickly find success. They you know, they in their music, and they, you know, they gain an audience. And then over time, you know, they like rich music producers, you know, start wanting to kind of get in on that and sort of, you know, like do what music producers usually do, which is ruin music. And somewhere around here is where Jason Alexander shows up, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So it's also that like the main character is also being like an egotistical like prick as well.
Yeah.
Like he's and Jason Alexander's like is the not what is he, like a manager or an agent or something? I don't know, some type of money man.
Yeah. He's like kind of decadent, I think.
And it's so funny. He tries to do an English accent too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
And
only on like half his lines. And like even scenes that aren't like cut at all, he'll just have his Jason Alexander tone and then just end with a British accent.
yeah. I laughed so hard at that. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I want to believe you're British, but you're Jason Alexander. So it's like, it doesn't quite work. That was funny, though. It kind of reminded me
Yeah.
of Tom Hanks in, what was that movie? Cloud Atlas at the beginning, when he's that musician or whoever that he was. And he has a Yorkshire accent. He talks like this, and it's just like, okay, it's just hilarious because it's Tom Hanks. Like, anyway, but so eventually this guy and oh wait, no, some other shit happens. So yeah, his friend gets killed in a robbery. Wait, no, okay, all right. And so like he encounters Lynn Shay, the immortal Lynn Shay, I should call her. We all love Lynn Shay. She was in Kingpin. She played the landlady, like the one, that sweaty, nasty like lady who makes Woody Harrelson like sleep with her, and she's like, "Oh, you still owe me 2 months rent, so you better start doing tongue exercises." And she goes, like, oh my gosh, she makes me laugh so hard. Anyway, so she's in this. So he encounters her, and she's kind of like she's like the angel who is like, okay, you ever see or read Christmas Carol, like about the Ebenezer Scrooge guy who has to, he encounters the angels or whatever.
Yeah, I never read it though.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not really like that, but like she's sort of like that kind of angel, I guess. Except instead of, well, actually, no, not like that. Actually, more like It's a Wonderful Life, because no, actually, not even. I don't know what to compare her to. She basically shows him the sins of his ways. Like, who's that? Like, there's somebody who did that, who's like famous, who's like an angel. Like, I guess it doesn't matter, but anyway, she's that kind of thing. Actually, I guess she's not an angel either because her eyes glow. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Like, she basically shows up.
She's the head of security.
Yeah, she's the head of security. She's like, you got to see this shit. Like, this is you. This is real. And like, it starts off with her like showing him. I don't know. Can either of you explain this plot, because it kind of goes all over the place for me? It was sort of a messy situation.
I think it might be she shows him the meeting he had with Jason Alexander, I believe, and he stormed off after not getting his wishes, but Quan stayed back, sticking up for him, saying, because the producer or Jason Alexander said, like, why don't we go solo with you? You're the real talent here. But he sticks to his partner, his buddy Sod. Like, it shows that, oh, your friend here was a good guy. He could have had a record deal on his own solo, but he stuck with you. And then it goes to like showing how he died, and more or less, saying that well, not even just saying that, but showing that he put the hit out on him.
Yeah,
because he was wearing a bulletproof vest. It was a robbery gone wrong, in air quotes.
Yeah,
just a staged robbery just to kill his partner. I don't even really know why. They were just mad at each other for some reason, but
Oh, well, okay, okay, you see, this is where I got confused with the first part. He gets accused of statutory rape because there's that
Oh,
one,
that's right.
yeah, there's that scene where there's that random sex scene where he's in bed with that lady, and then the newspaper shows up and it's like, oh, she's a minor. And so then his friend is like, I'm not helping you out of this one, you have to do this on your own. But then after that happened, you see there's a scene where despite the fact that now he's involved in a sex scandal, he still sort of wants to he still doesn't want to sell his soul. Like, he still doesn't want to work for he still wants to keep making music and still like do what he's doing and not sell out and not sell his friend out either. So Lin Shay basically says to SOD that Sod that his friend, even when he knew he was, doing the wrong thing, that he still wasn't going to abandon him. And so that was sort of like, so now you have to pay for that, because now that you know that, like, you wronged him. He didn't wrong you. You wronged him. And so his friend comes back and his face is all messed up.
For some reason.
Yeah.
They just
It's
put a
like,
lot of zombie makeup on him, even though like in what we see is just like one bullet hole. Like, I don't know why his whole face was all monsterfied.
it was like plastic Goosebumps makeup. It looked like shit. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
And the way he talked was dorky too. And then, oh yeah, it's you, it's me, it's DDP. He showed up. Diamond Dallas Page. He walked into
Oh,
the
that's
room.
I saw his name in the credits. It didn't.
Yeah. And he died. He got stabbed in the face.
Yeah, he was the
by the
hitman.
ghost. Yeah.
He was the one that actually killed him.
Yeah,
And
that was it.
He was like the head of his entourage security or whatever, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Because like what the whole backdrop of it is that I guess they're at like some awards ceremony too, and they're in the I don't know, his green room, dressing room or whatever, but
yeah.
the magical lady made everyone disappear.
That's a good way to put it.
And then eventually, yeah, that DDP comes in knocking,
Yeah.
just to see what's up, and is Quan's ghost or whatever is there, and he's like, "You don't see him? He's right there." And it was like a funny like interaction too, because like Quan was like was saying some shit, but technically it was just Sod and his security guy looking at each other for a good 30 seconds or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, why, like in reality, I think one of, at least the security guard would have started talking over Quan, but no, it was just a weird scene.
That was so
You look at
strange.
it,
Yeah, I mean, I guess they didn't really have time to explain it anyway, because more gore. We get to see Diamond Dallas Page get his eyeballs gouged out, which is kind of funny.
Quan becomes corporeal and stabs him right in the eyes.
Yeah. And then our hero, for lack of a better word, I guess, runs out, gets shot by the police.
In a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go out that way.
Yeah, pretty much. And then that's pretty much it. Like, that's kind of the end of the movie. After that, like, Snoop Dogg shows up like one more time, says some clever shit.
Oh, and in this one he shows up during it as well, actually.
Yeah.
So I was at this point I was a little confused if it was because he was like on the red carpet, so to speak, of that award ceremony. So I was like, so is he playing himself or is he playing that Devon character? Because he introduces Method Man, and Method Man played himself. So I was like,
right.
So is this Snoop Dogg right now, or is this Devon? I don't know.
I'm just gonna assume it's Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I think
there's like some meta shit going on in that scene. Like, I think he like broke the fourth wall at the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it was a little confusing because I thought, oh, Snoop Dogg's playing himself in this one. But
Yeah,
then he did do the fourth wall break thing.
interesting how Snoop Dogg can play dual roles.
What happened was too is that he had like, you know, his succubuses there with him, and they like killed the limo driver or whatever.
Yes.
while Snoop Dogg was in the back of the limo, just, I don't know, chilling.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
funny. Like, okay. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I watched the after credits, or I watched the credits stuff. It was, mostly just a lot of dancing, Snoop Dogg doing his thing. He's actually a couple Snoop Dogs played throughout this movie, which was kind of fun. And I guess that's Hood of Horror. Like,
Yep.
yeah. Wasn't good.
No.
Nah.
I remember maybe liking it a little more when I first saw it, when it first came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
Does not hold up.
Yeah, this is the first time watch for me, and I might watch it again one day, but it's not gonna be for a while. Probably, I'll probably, if there's a music video on the DVD, I'll watch that. Like, I'll watch that before I watch the movie.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, I mean, I think it was it was the surprise film on the not 8 Films to Die For horror festival. I would say it wasn't much of a surprise. I love Snoop Dogg, but this movie was kind of lame.
Mhm.
I wasn't crazy
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Some decent gore.
Yeah, the gore was good.
40 through
Yeah.
the head, the caviar explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And the animated bits were neat.
Yeah,
I like
those.
Yeah, I like the animated bits. I like the bits with Snoop Dogg. They were funny.
Yeah.
They were
Snoop
weird,
Dogg.
but they were funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, the gore. Some of the cameos were cool. Yeah, that's about it, really. Otherwise, it's kind of just same old, like Twilight Zone type. Only cheap, silly, and dorky. That's about it.
Mhm.
I gave it a 1.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
about fair.
That's what I would rate it to, a 1. Yep.
I think that's about fair. I'll give it I'd give it a 2 on a good day. I'll put it that way. On a good day, I'd give it a 2 for the Snoop Dogg, for the animation, and for the cameos. But otherwise, I'd give it a 1. Yeah. Aside from the gore, it doesn't really satisfy as far as the scares go. Stories are mostly kind of lame. We've seen it before. The acting is, well, it's not like I'm
Bad.
expecting good acting anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's the Hood of Horror. I just don't. I mean, unless you're like a hardcore Snoop Dogg fan, I just don't really see why one would watch this over Tales from the Hood, which is perfectly fine. Like, that already exists. I don't know, maybe this has a little bit more to say here and there as far as like the times in which people live in 2006. But otherwise, this is just kind of mostly feels like kind of secondary to that, or somewhat complementary. I don't know. I think Snoop Dogg, he's got a better movie than this in him. Snoop Dogg, he's delved into horror many times. He's horror is his bread and butter. Even a lot of his music sounds horror themed. Horror is his style. I think he has a better movie than this in him that he could probably helm, that would be more interesting and more fun. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll be talking about one in the future.
Mhm. I think the one I chose was horror.
Yes, it was. And I think the one I chose is horror too. I don't know what mine is. It's either horror
I don't know. It's
or
Albert
action. Yeah.
Albert Pien, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
horror from what
Yeah.
because when I was trying to search for it and grab it, it was not
Yeah.
horror. It's
Yeah.
gangster stuff.
Yeah. It wasn't in the horror section. It was in the gangster section.
Yeah. Crime in general.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So we got a crime film, a horror film, and a comedy, I would call
Comedy?
the
Yeah.
wash. Yeah. All right. Excellent. So we're gonna get a wider palette of Snoop Dogg coming up pretty soon. Right around the corner, just be patient. It's coming,
Yeah.
Calm down. We know you're begging for it.
Yeah. we hear
Yeah.
it from the streets.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. I'm sorry. In the meantime, please make do with what our feelings are about Hood of Horror. Take them as you will. It's fun. I actually enjoy doing these single movie episodes a lot.
Yeah.
Gives us the
Bit
freedom
easier.
to release. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do another one of these at some point.
Yeah.
But all right, yeah. So until next time, yeah. Peace.
See ya.
Have a good one.
Bye. Oh shit! You know what? We should mention real quick. You can edit this in. This is we've already recorded this episode, but I just wanted to sort of add a footnote. By the way, in the second story, there's a brief scene where the characters celebrate Christmas.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah,
Christmas
All right.
movie. There we go.
yeah, yeah,
Tying it all in.
yeah. There you go. Bingo. All right, bye. All right. Anyway,
I stopped recording before you said
all right.
that.
I
So
got it.
all
No
right.
worries.
I got it though.
Word.
All right. Cool.